Hello again, YouTubers and Pokemon fans! Today we're finally going to open up the not very new anymore Battle Arena deck featuring Keldeo and Rayquaza. It is the Keldeo versus Rayquaza Battle Arena deck. Just lean this back a little bit there so you can see the whole package in there, like so. Flip it over, and it says, two mighty Pokemon battle for victory. Rayquaza and Keldeo go head to head in the new Pokemon TCG Battle Arena decks. These two 60-card decks are ready to play right away with powerful cards and winning strategies worthy of an ace trainer. Each deck is led by an exceptional Pokemon EX and includes 10 foil cards. Let the battle begin. I'm not going to read what you all get because we're going to open up and show you. It shows the deck lists on each side here. There's some are the same in each, others are unique. The Rayquaza deck is fire and electric, and the Keldeo deck is purely water. So, sometimes these pop open really easily, and other times the glue is like insanely excessive. So, most of those came off really nice, and then this one doesn't really want to. So, let's just rip it open the best that we can here, and we'll be good then. And Jigglypuff, no, you put others to sleep. You don't sleep. Come on now. All right. Get everything out here. So, first of all, on top here, we've got one of the foil cards for each deck. There is the Keldeo, a reprint from Boundaries Crossed. This is the product I usually advocate the most to people that want to get involved in competitive play, unless they want to strictly play only in standard tournaments, as a lot of the cards you get in these are expanded. But for your bang for your buck on these, you get two full decks, and a lot of the cards in there are competitive trainers that you're going to need in decks. And in these, you also get we'll show you in a second here, but the main Pokemon you get in here too, besides the EXs, is an Octillery, which is basically the poor man's Shaman right now, since Shaman is such an expensive card. So if you can't afford a Shaman EX, the next best thing is running like a 2/2 Octillery line or something like that. So Keldeo EX has the Rush In ability. Once during your turn before your attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. This was used very heavily when it was standard legal. Would often end up with a float zone on it, so that if your active Pokemon got poisoned, paralyzed, whatever it may be, you can use the Rush In ability, which doesn't count as retreating, and the float stone, retreat Keldeo for free, and you have the Pokemon you want active again, getting rid of any special conditions that may have been inflicted upon it. Then we'll show you the Rayquaza EX here right away as well. 170 HP, Celestial Roar, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If any of those cards are energy cards, attach them to this Pokemon. And then Dragon Burst, discard all basic fire energy or all basic electric energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 60 damage times the number of energy cards you discarded. So you have to have one of each on there. So if you discard just one, it's 60. If you got 2 fire on there and electric, you discard both fire, it does 120, and so on and so forth. Definitely the Keldeo, the better of the two, in my opinion, for competitive play overall. The Rayquaza EX is a reprint from Dragons Exalted, by the way. We get the rest of this stuff out here and get rid of the garbage. Oh no, coin down. Coin down. So here is the Blastoise coin, looking nice and fierce. And yeah, spoiler alert, Blastoise is in the Keldeo deck. And then there is the Rayquaza coin. Now, just because of what Pokemon are featured, kind of surprised, I guess, it's not Rayquaza and Keldeo, but I'm okay with it being a Blastoise coin. I have no complaints with that. Just kind of odd they feature one of the, feature Pokemon on the coins, but not the other. But it is what it is. And then, let's see here. We also got some damage counters, poison and bird markers. We've got, let's see, what does this thing all say on here? He just explains the stuff a little bit more. Hopefully you can read these. I'm not going to read it, but I'll kind of like freeze it there in different spots. So if you want, you can pause and then read it at your leisure. Hopefully it's, legible and stuff, but if it's not, well, my apologies. But just want to give you guys the opportunity to read for those that may want to. Basically just explains the decks and how they run. But we'll probably actually do a battle with these decks as well within the next few days, and the Legendary Bird decks as well. Between myself and Cody, most likely, who, again, got second place at Worlds using that Greninja deck. And he reviewed that on this channel earlier, and we did a Worlds rematch battle previously as well. And you guys seem to receive that battle very well, so I want to try to give you guys more battles. We'll usually focus on like competitive type decks, but want to try out some of these unique products as well. And there you can see the playmat featuring Rayquaza and Keldeo. The best that I can reasonably show it to you without, completely changing things up here. So, that's all the extra stuff besides the code card, which I'll want to redeem those myself on there because I want to make sure I get Karen on PCGO. Doesn't seem to be heavily used right now, but it's definitely a card I want at least at my disposal on there for whenever I deem necessary. So, we get, for the rest of the foil cards, you get 8 foil water energies. And as we showed you in the legendary bird deck openings, these are actually the same exact foil treated cards as you get in the legendary battle decks featuring Articuno in this case, and Moltres and Zapdos. Same 3 energy types as the Rayquaza deck, as you'll see in a moment, will have 4 fire and 4 electric. So if you want these kind of energies, you can either get the Battle Arena decks or you can get the legendary bird decks, and you'll get them that way. So there you go. And then there's a second Keldeo EX. I'll get these in sleeves after the video, but I think they'll be okay for the time being here. And then we've got some non-foil water energies. And then on to the good stuff, the best stuff here, the trainers. And these are usually packaged, it seems, in reverse alphabetical order. So first of all, you get a Versus Seeker. A lot of these cards are worth a lot more. Before these decks came out, these decks helped reduce the secondary market prices on a lot of these cards, which obviously is good for new players getting into the game. Never mind the fact that they can just, buy this deck and get a lot of these cards as well. Before this came out, Versus Seeker was an $8 to $12 card. Now I think it's more like $4, maybe $5 tops, somewhere in there. It may recover over time here if it stays in standard format especially, but for now it's lost about half its value or more since these decks came out. You get one in this one, and you'll see what you'll get in the other one as well. And then some more playable cards, not necessarily valuable cards, but still cards that any competitive player are going to want in their arsenal. So we got 2 Ultra Balls. Less desirable, we got a Tierno. Teammates, which in select decks can be a decent card to use. 2 Superior Energy Retrieval. That is only legal and expanded right now, but that was an important card in the deck that got first place at Worlds in 2015, featuring Blastoise and Keldeo. So in a way, this is kind of like a poor man's version of the deck that won Worlds a couple of years ago, kind of, sort of. Only you actually get cards that you're allowed to use, whereas you bought the Worlds deck, that's, just for funsies, and you can't actually use them in tournaments. Got a Skyla, Shauna, couple of Rough Seas, which is used in the Greninja deck as well. Heals 30 from each of your all Pokemon or electric Pokemon in play on your turn. So both players can use that if they have those types. You get a couple of rare candies, which still has some value, although it has been reprinted a ton of times in various sets. Professor's Letter, Professor Sycamore, not a hard card to get, but nearly all decks in competitive play run 4 Professor Sycamore. You get 2 in this deck, and you'll see 2 in the other as well. We got a Professor Birch's Observations, Shuffle Draw, if heads, draw 7, if tails, draw 4. That was about a $3 card, as was Rough Seas, as was the Dive Ball we're going to see. Now they're all more like maybe 50 to 75 cents tops, thanks to them being reprinted in these decks. And that still has some value though, like $2, $3 or so. This is promo BW100. This is the only way you can get this N artwork non-foil. This is a reprint from a League promo that was hollow with the play Pokemon symbol right there. So if you want this card and you don't want it to be foil, you have to get the Battle Arena decks or buy it as a single that way. So you get 1 in this deck, and I think we got 1 in the other one as well. If you don't know, each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, then each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards. So a great card to play, especially when you're behind on prizes or early game and you just need to refresh your hand and help get your own game state. Got a Lysander. There is Karen, which is also exclusive to these decks. You can't get this in any form, any artwork, etc. by any means other than buying these decks or buying it as a single from somebody who got this from the decks. It's promo XY177. Each player shuffles all Pokemon in his or her discard pile into his or her deck. So if your metagame is heavy with Night March or Vespiquen, where your opponent needs to have a lot of Pokemon in the discard pile to do a lot of damage, you play Karen and you basically reset their game state as far as what they want to do. So it can be a very devastating card in the right matchup. In most other matchups though, it's not going to do a whole lot of good, but a lot of times it could be a good card to have at least a 1 of tech, depending on what the format is you're playing in and what your metagame is like in your area. Fisherman, Escape Rope. There is the couple of Dive Balls. We've got a Bianca and an Archie's Ace in the Hole. And then for Pokemon, we've got a Regice with that Resistance Blizzard attack. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by Pokemon EX. So that can be quite the devastating Pokemon if you encounter it and you're running a deck that relies on EXs to do the damage and take the knockouts, because it's not going to work so well on Regice once it starts swaying with Resistance Blizzard. We've got the Ancient Trait Articuno, which, thanks to the Ancient Trait there, if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack from this Pokemon, take one more prize card. So if Articuno knocked out an EX, you were taking 3 prize cards. Knock out 2 EXs with Articuno in a game, and you've won the game. Chilling Sigh puts him to sleep. Tri-Edge, flip 3 coins. It does damage for each heads, 20 plus the 40 for each heads. So you get 1 heads, does 60, 2 heads 100, 3 heads 140. So you'll probably have to swing 2, maybe 3 times with that on average to knock out most EXs. But still, if you can get an Articuno active to swing with Tri-Edge when there's already a withered away EX, it can be pretty devastating to take 3 prizes with a single attack. Got a couple of Lapras, Remoraid, and there is the Octillery. Originally appeared in Breakthrough as a Holo Rare in these decks, as the cards kind of slide on my hand there. It is a non-Holo Rare, only way to get this as a non-Holo. The ability, Abyssal Hand. Once during your turn, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. So like I said, the Poor Man's Shaman, if you want a Pokemon that gives you some draw power, Octillery is the cheaper way to go, especially thanks to this reprint right here. Then, yes, we've got 2 Phoebus, 1 deck in the Keldeo portion of this Battle Arena deck. That is the Dragon's Exalted Phoebus. And then we've got just 1 Milotic, which is for Primal Clash, normally a Holo Rare as well. We got, actually there are 2. I thought there was 2 Milotics, just in a weird order that time. Then we've got 3 Squirtles from Boundaries Cross with Shell's Shield ability, 2 Wartortles, and 2 Blastoise with Deluge. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a Water Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So you can you can attach more than 1 energy per turn, which obviously can be very beneficial, especially with cards like Keldeo X. Secret Sword does 20 extra damage for each water attached. So late game, if you need to do a little bit extra damage to get that last prize, you got Blastoise out, you just Deluge down as many energy as you can, and swing hard and win the game, basically. So then on to the Rayquaza deck, we got an upside down fire energy. So we got 4 foil fire energies, 4 foil electric, and then there is the second Rayquaza EX with Celestial Roar and Dragon Burst. And then we got some more basic energies as well. Then we've got Ultra Ball again, Versus Seeker again, 2 Ultra Balls, Tierno, Switch, which I hope you all know what that does by now, ×2, Skyla, Sky Arrow Bridge. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play is 1 energy requirement less. 2 of those. Shauna. A lot of these we saw in the other deck, so this one goes a lot faster. Professor's Letter. 2 Sycamore. Professor Birch's Observations. Pokemon Fan Club. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterward. There's the second N. Lysander. Level Ball instead of Dive Ball in this one. Search your deck for a Pokemon with 90 hit points or less, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards, 2 of those. Another Karen. There's Floatstone, which kind of surprised that's not in the Keldeo portion, as, like I said, it works very well with Keldeo EX, but they put it in this deck instead for whatever reason. I'm sure there is a reason. I didn't read the insert thing, which explained the decks. Maybe the answer can be found there. We got a Bianca and 2 Battle Compressors to discard cards from your deck into your discard pile, which works best for, decks like Night March and Vespiquen. Then we got 1 AZ. Put 1 of your Pokemon into your hand, discard all cards attached to that Pokemon. Then for the Pokemon, we've got 2 different Victini. This one I like more, with the ability Victory Star. Once during your turn, after you flip any coins for an attack, you may ignore all effects of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. You can't use more than 1 Victory Star ability each turn. So it's basically got the Pokemon Tool card Trick Coin built into it as an ability there. So it doesn't even say that it has to be from attacks of Victini. So any Pokemon you use that has flipping, you can use Victory Star to reflip. So can be a nice little tech card, but it's from Legendary Treasures, so it is not a standard legal, only expanded, but can still make for an interesting tech card in the right deck. We've got 2 different Zapdos. We've got a rare Zekrom with Outrage, one of the most reprinted cards ever, I think. But the Xerneas and Yveltal from XY base set have also been reprinted a whole bunch. But the Zekrom and Reshiram from XY base set, or sorry, from Black and White base set initially with Outrage, also got reprinted a bunch. Got Dedenne ×2, Pikachu ×3 with Nuzzle and Quick Attack, Raichu as a non-holo rare from XY base ×2. That was an expensive card when it was only an XY base, but then I got reprinted in Generations, it got reprinted in this one. It got a lot easier to find, basically. They've got 3 Dynamo and 2 Electrike with Dynamotor. Once during your turn, you may attach an electric energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. So that with Rayquaza can make Dragon Burst more effective, but they have to be on your bench. So I guess that's why they have Floatstone on here, because while their tree cost is only 1, maybe you want to have the Floatstone on Rayquaza, so you can have Rayquaza active, use Dragon Burst, and discard like 3 electric energy, and then on the next turn, use electric, 2 of them out there with Dynamotor to attach 2 of those electric energy to a bench Rayquaza, attach throw one from your hand, and then swing for 180 again, and so on and so forth. But like I said, we'll try to do a battle with these 2 decks with Cody, and we'll try to get that recorded ASAP and on this channel within the next few days, hopefully, to give you guys a first-hand look at how these decks may operate. But I don't suggest buying these decks to have a deck. As just getting these decks, you have a good card pool of things to use, namely with the trainers you get for these, so you guys can get involved in competitive play if that's something you're interested in doing. That will be all for this video then. So if you enjoyed and you haven't already, please subscribe. Go ahead and smash that like button, help show your support. Visit our website, thepokecapital.com. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time for some more Pokemon goodness.